Hi, I'm going to show you the difference between a nine-figure brand and a brand that's unable to scale. I'm going to do this by telling you what most brands are doing wrong, what nine-figure brands like AG1 are doing differently. I'm going to talk about the transactional psychology, where I tell about the three states that your potential customers will be in before they get to your site. And I will then talk about three optimized funnels of Huel, AG1, and Petlab Co, where I talk about how they turn cold traffic into loyal customers. But before I show you this, who am I? I'm Casper and I'm the owner of Ascended Agency. This is a CRO agency that I founded in November of last year. And in all of these months, I've learned a lot about CRO. I've also started working for Durham Rose, where I've helped them a lot with CRO. And in these videos, I want to show you as much value as possible of all that I've learned over the past few months. Okay, but what do most brands do wrong? Most brands are focusing all of their targeting on the bottom of the funnel. This is where people are most aware. This works for a while, but after a certain point, it's almost impossible to scale. Because when you start scaling, you start targeting less and less aware people for your brand. This makes it harder for them to convert, which increases the ad spend. But what do nine-figure brands do differently? They focus on targeting higher in the awareness stages by making use of listicles and editorials to target colder traffic. Listicles are basically landing pages that list out what all the reasons are to buy a product, and advertorials are basically editorials that are written out of an authority figure, basically a vet or dermatologist, that talk about a problem that their patients have found and then the solution they have found for their patients, which is then basically the product. They then build offers that are not just mediocre, but make someone feel stupid not to buy them by framing it in a way that invokes emotion and giving it a narrative and making it seem like a once in a lifetime deal by trying to bundle it and position it as good of an offer as possible. They then keep you in the funnel by not giving you any distractions. They try to reduce the friction and make it as clear of a path as possible to the checkout and to purchase. They then also show insane social proof by, for example, showing influencers using the product, and they show all of their happy customers and their reviews to build trust. They also handle all the objections by giving money back guarantees and having an FAQ that answers all of the possible questions that a prospect might have. They also maximize average order value and customer lifetime value with upsells, post-purchase funnels, and subscriptions, which gives them an advantage by being able to pay more for a customer than the competitors because they will have a recurring revenue from that specific customer. The three states that your potential customer will be in when they get to your site, well, they first need to be emotionally invested. They need to be excited about the prospect of what your product will provide for them for their lives. They then want to justify their emotional investment with logic. And when they've done that, they will try to find objections why a product might not be a good fit. Why it may be why is it different than what they've bought before? You need to answer all of this to make someone actually want to buy. If you give someone an emotional investment, you justify their emotions and you handle all of their objections, you will make people buy from you. Okay, then does Huel do, for example? Well, they target you with a prospecting ad where they say, so tasty, you forget it's good for you. By positioning it as not just a protein shake but a meal, they're also able to ask a lot more for their shakes compared to just a normal protein shake. And they have and it's a very healthy shake with a lot of protein, etc. Then when you click, you immediately go to the offer page, which is completely optimized for customer lifetime value because they pre-select a subscription option and they make it way cheaper than buying it one time and give you the option to cancel it anytime. So a lot of people think it's just a no-brainer. Okay, I'll just buy the subscription and I'll cancel my subscription if I don't like the product. And they also show a lot of happy customers. They also have a lot of upsells. They talk about why it's a complete meal. They also talk about all the ingredients, what all the health benefits are, and then give more upsells, show more, build more trust by showing all the happy customers and all the meals that are sold, and they show that it's recommended by top performers and nutrition experts, and they handle all the objections with the FAQ. Then, when you click to buy the product, you get a pop-up with upsells to further increase the average order value, and they first start with high-priced upsells. Then when you go to the cart, you get lower priced upsells that you can add to your subscription. And they also position it in a way, okay, if you buy it, you immediately get free shipping, so why not just buy it? And then in the checkout, they also try to give you some more upsells, which are very, very low ticket, by letting you buy a sample of a different flavor. Then when you purchase, you go to the order confirmation page. Okay, so what does AG1 do? AG1 also tries to invoke emotion by talking about a healthy life. And of course, everyone wants a healthy life. Then, when you start, when you click on order now, you go to a listicle, what we talked about before. And then they tell it's everything you need to go all in. They talk about free shipping, they talk about that you can try it for free, they talk about that it's a nutrition boost, and they talk about all of it, what it contains of multivitamins, antioxidants, etc. And they talk about a lot of studies that they have done where 97% of their customers that have tried this have had increased energy levels. And then they start introducing the actual product. And the product is a bundle offer, and they try to position the bundle as good as possible by giving a lot free and saying that you get a huge discount basically because it is a bundle. If you're not convinced yet, they talk about well, all the ingredients are good for you, that they keep raising the bar, how easy it is to use, real people, real results. So they show reviews, and they show social proof with Lewis Hamilton, for example, that uses it. And they have an FAQ that handles all of the objections, and then not satisfied, get your money back. Then you can either go to the page or you get a retargeting ad first. And because you're now a warm prospect, you just get a bundle offer because most people that are warm are just interested in a good offer. But if you haven't heard from the prospect before, you first need a lot more information about the product. Then when you click, you immediately go to the offer page. And in this offer page, they try to reduce as much friction as possible. They don't give you any more sections, they don't give you any more information. Everything you've already read before. They just try to offer, they just try to position the offer as good as possible and try to increase the customer lifetime value by also adding the subscription. And they also talk about that you can cancel it anytime and you have a money back guarantee, of course. Then you can go immediately to the checkout, so you also don't go to the cart, which is also an extra step that you don't have to take, which makes it easier to buy and not get distracted. And then in this checkout, they give you upsells. Then when you purchase, you go to the order confirmation page. So, Petlab Co, what do? They have the most complicated funnel, but also the best funnel in my opinion. They have a prospecting ad where they try to invoke as much emotion as possible by telling you that your dog is suffering and you don't know the solution yet. And if you want to know the solution, you can click on more information. Then when you click, you go to an advertorial where they talk about a problem that a lot of dogs are facing in America. They then introduce the problem, tell you how you can find out if this problem is also the case for your own pet. And then they start introducing the solution, telling why it's better than what competitors are offering. They talk about that it's vet reviewed, giving social proof. They talk about that it's loved by a lot of pet parents, over 3 million dogs worldwide, which builds trust and adds more social proof. And then they try to personalize it by asking you questions about your dog's weight and if your dog is actually showing signs of what is discussed in that tutorial. And of course, if you've read all the way down, the answer is yes. Then you can either click through, or if you go away, you get a retargeting ad, which is just a lot of social proof and the offer. And then you go immediately to the offer page, where it's also optimized for customer lifetime value and average order value, because the option of subscription is pre-selected, and they give you a lot of upsells, and they show, of course, the payment info. They show all the social proof of Forbes, 4 million dogs that use it, that it's America's number one selling probiotic chew for dogs, vet reviewed, all the ingredients, why it's better than competitors, what to expect, and a lot of reviews. Then you also don't go to the cart, you immediately go to the checkout. And in the checkout, they also have some more upsells. Then you can either purchase, but if you leave the checkout, you get an abandoned checkout mail. And if you then decide to purchase, you don't finish and go to the thank you page already. No, you first get an upsell page where they have a special offer for you, where you get another upsell with a timer of 15 minutes, for example. And then you can either decide to buy, which of course increases the average order value, or if you don't, you just go to the order confirmation page. And after that, the funnel is also not yet finished. No, you then get a post-purchase ad where they ask you to join a community of Petlab Co customers. And in this community, you can get tips and meet fellow uh, pet parents. And this is, of course, very good for Petlab Co because when people are already in this community, they have a community feeling towards your brand. Maybe they've met friends there, and it's much easier to make them buy from you again because you don't have to spend any more money on advertising to this specific group of people because you can just advertise for free basically. Well, if you've enjoyed this video and you want the Miro board, you can just send me a message on Instagram. I'll link it down below. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be dropping a lot more value like this in the future.